What up, guys? GangstaPranksta here, bringing you another weekly wrestling review for, I don't know what the dates are, but they should be in the title. Welcome to the show. If you're new to the show, this is where we talk about everything pro wrestling, from news, reviews, to predictions. We talk about it all, so welcome to the show if you're a wrestling fan. First off, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. First, we got reviews for WWE TLC, 2 weeks of RAW, Smackdown, Impact, Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor Final Battle, and a little bit of news. Welcome back, guys. I know I haven't done one of these in a while. I'm trying to go back to weekly wrestling review instead of the bi-weekly wrestling review. And this is the last weekly wrestling review of 2011. And it's been a long journey. You know, I started doing these in April, so I've been doing this for about 8 months. And, I'm going to keep doing it because I know there's people that love to hear me talk about pro wrestling, and there's a lot of wrestling fans. A lot of you are subscribed to the channel for wrestling content, and that's cool, and I'm here to bring it to you. So first off, let's talk about WWE TLC, which was 2 weeks ago. This pay-per-view was an excellent pay-per-view. I really enjoyed it. I thought nothing was really bad on the show. Everything was just good. So let's go through it real quick. First, we got Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler for the U.S. title. Good match. Ryder wins and becomes the new U.S. champ. Finally, the Ryder Revolution has taken place, and Ryder has become U.S. champ. Look forward to seeing his True Story Long Island Iced Z thing, his YouTube show with his U.S. champ, or his U.S. title. Next, we got Air Boom versus Primo and Epico for the tag team titles. Good match. Air Boom retain. Next, we got Wade Barrett versus Randy Orton in a table match. Good match. Randy Orton wins that one. Next, we have Kelly versus Beth Phoenix, Divas title match. Pretty good match. Beth wins. I thought we were going to see Alicia Fox versus Beth, but I think that might be on the next pay-per-view. I'd like to see Alicia Fox get a title shot. Beth feuded with Kelly and then Eve, so Alicia just seems like the most sense to be her next opponent. Next we got Triple H versus Kevin Nash, sledgehammer ladder match thing. This was a good match, actually. I knew it would because Triple H is that good, but Kevin Nash, I don't know, I don't really like him, but he actually delivered on this, and it was a good match, and Triple H won. Next, we got Sheamus versus Jack Swagger. Pretty good match. Sheamus wins. And then we got Big Show versus Mark Henry in a chair match for the world title. Pretty good match. Big Show wins and is the new world champ. But this does not last long because after the match, Henry DDTs Big Show on a pile of chairs. Then Daniel Bryan comes out and cashes his money in the bank, pins Big Show, and becomes the new world heavyweight champion. I'm happy as hell. I love Daniel Bryan. I've seen him come up from wrestling in Ring of Honor and working his way all the way back up into WWE. And now he's world champ. This guy deserves it. I'm glad he won. And I expect big things from Daniel Bryan on the SmackDown side of things. So congratulations. And I look forward to see what Daniel Bryan can accomplish as World Heavyweight Champion. Next, we got Cody Rhodes versus Booker T for the Intercontinental title. This was a pretty good match. Cody won. I knew Cody was going to retain his title, but I thought, maybe by disqualification or something. But no, Cody pinned him right away, and he retained his title. And last but not least, we have The Miz versus CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio. 3-way TLC match for the WWE title. Really good match. CM Punk wins and is still the WWE champion. Overall, this was a good WWE pay-per-view, and I suggest you guys check it out. Next, we got Raw. I'm just going to run through this real quick because this was the one from 2 weeks ago. CM Punk starts the show, and he brings out Zack Ryder and Daniel Bryan. He congratulates them all. And then Miz, Dolph Ziggler, and Del Rio come out, and they brawl a little bit, all 6 of them. And then John Laurinaitis comes out and says it'll be a 6-man later tonight. First match, Orton versus Wade Barrett. Good match. Orton wins by DQ. Next is Beth Phoenix versus Alicia Fox. This was a blah match. It ended really quickly. Next we got Sheamus versus Jinder Mahal. Pretty good match. Sheamus wins. John Cena comes out and talks about Kane beating him up. And then Mark Henry comes out, and I don't know what he said because I was too busy laughing at the crowd chanting sexual chocolate. That was hilarious. And Kane comes out and attacks Cena and takes his shirt. Takes his shirt of all things. Next we got the Usos versus Primo and Epico. Pretty good match. Primo and Epico win. Cody Rhodes versus Santino. Pretty good match. Cody wins. And last but not least, Miz, Del Rio, and Dolph Ziggler versus Zack Ryder, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. Good match. Ryder, Daniel Bryan, and CM Punk win. Next, you got Impact. Starts out with Robert Roode and Bully Ray talking about beating up Sting and Jeff Hardy last week. Roode calls out Sting, but Hardy comes out and says they have a tag match tonight. And then Sting comes out and says he's going to be Jeff Hardy's partner. Next we got Kazarian and AJ Styles versus RVD and Christopher Daniels. Pretty good match. AJ and Kazarian win. This is part of the Wild Ace 8 tag team thing. It's the tag team tournament thing. And Kazarian and AJ advance. Next we got Tony Nese versus Zema Ion. Pretty good match. Nese wins. Next we got Madison Rayne comes out and calls out Tara and Brooke Tessmacher. They come out and Madison says since Karen is gone, she's going to be VP of the Knockouts. And Tara and Brooke have to have a match. So it's Tara versus Brooke Tessmacher. This was rough to watch. It was pretty horrifying. It was just bad. Like the match was okay, but like everything else was just horrendous. It was horrendous. It was horrible. I did not like this one bit. Next we got James Storm comes out and talks about Kurt Angle. And Angle is in some bar and says he's going to beat up Storm's family and friends and all that shit. Next we got Eric Young and ODB versus Anarchia and Shannon Moore. Pretty good match. ODB and Eric Young win. Again, this is part of the tournament for the tag titles. Last but not least, Bully Ray and Robert Roode versus Jeff Hardy and Sting in a street fight match. This was a good match. Sting and Jeff Hardy win. And this, therefore, kind of confirms my my nightmare that Sting is going to come back and face Robert Roode for the world title eventually. Lockdown, maybe Slammiversary. We'll just have to wait and see, though. Next, we got WWE Smackdown. Starts out with Big Show. Talks about winning the world title, but losing it seconds later. Henry comes out, and they go back and forth a little bit. Daniel Bryan comes out and talks about not being the biggest or strongest, but he's still world champ. And Henry and Show want a title match. Teddy Long comes out and says it'll be Show versus Big Show versus Mark Henry. Winner gets a title match. First match, Cody Rhodes versus Zack Ryder. Pretty good match. Ryder wins after Booker T sings. He starts singing a song and it distracts Cody and whatever. The singing was kind of ridiculous. Next we got Big Show versus Mark Henry. Match never happens because David Otunga comes out and says Henry can't wrestle because he's injured. And then Big Show knocks out Otunga. Next, Miz comes out and says SmackDown is no Raw, like Raw is better than SmackDown, and SmackDown has no stars. Sheamus comes out to have a match with Miz, and a pretty good match. Sheamus wins and shows that SmackDown does have stars, because Miz was probably seeing a couple after the match. Corny joke there. That was pretty corny. Next, we got Wade Barrett comes out, talks about beating Orton up. And says he's in his head. He says he deserves to be the number one contender for the world title. Randy Orton thinks otherwise and comes out and starts brawling with Barrett. And this ends with Orton giving an RKO to Barrett on a car. Next we got Kofi Kingston versus Primo. Pretty good match. Kofi wins. And last but not least, Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler. Good match. No one wins because Jack Swagger and Big Show get involved. And then Teddy Long makes it a tag match. And it was a good match. Daniel Bryan and Big... Actually, I don't know who won. I forgot to write down the fucking results. Awesome. I enjoyed the match. I just don't remember who won. I think it was Big Show and Kane. Big Show and Kane. Big Show and Daniel Bryan. Next, we got Ring of Honor TV. This was the TV show before Final Battle, which I will get to in a second. Great pay-per-view. First, we got... this was the TV show, not the pay-per-view. Andy Ridge versus Eddie Edwards. Pretty good match. Eddie wins. And Michael Elgin versus Davey Richards. Really good match. Davey Richards wins. After the match, Elgin attacks Richards. Eddie Edwards makes the save, but accidentally hits Richards. And Davey gets mad and attacks Eddie Edwards. So a lot of the show is just promoting Final Battle. And guess what we're going to talk about next? Ring of Honor Final Battle. I was really looking forward to this pay-per-view. I'm always excited when Ring of Honor has a pay-per-view. You know, the one before this, Best in the World, great pay-per-view. So I was like expecting really big things. Only one thing that didn't deliver on the show. Everything else was awesome. And I will get to that. So first match on the show is T.J. Perkins versus Michael Elgin. This was a good match. Good way to start off the pay-per-view. Really enjoyed this. Michael Elgin wins. Next, we have Tommaso Ciampa versus Jimmy Rave. Jimmy Rave returning to Ring of Honor. I don't know if it's full-time or he's just back to have this match, but always good to see Jimmy Rave. He looks completely different now. This was a pretty good match. Ciampa wins. Next, we got Mike Bennett versus Jay Lethal versus El Generico. Three-way elimination match for the Ring of Honor TV title. Good match. Lethal wins and retains his TV title. Next, we got the best match of the night. Steve Corino versus Kevin Steen. No DQ match with special guest referee Jimmy Jacobs. This was a really good match. Steen wins and wins his job back in Ring of Honor, so we'll be seeing him more. And this was not the last we saw of Kevin Steen. I'll talk about that later. This match just told a great story. They beat the hell out of each other. It was a great hardcore match. Really good. I would pay just to see this match. That's how good it was. After the match, Kevin Steen gets on the mic and says it's good to be back. Then he takes out Jimmy Jacobs. Then Steen tries to attack Jim Cornette, but El Generico makes the save. And Generico and Kevin Steen start brawling. But Kevin Steen low blows Generico and hits a package pile driver through a table. So this therefore confirms Generico and Kevin Steen are going to have another match down the line. That's great. And Kevin Steen's back in Ring of Honor, which I'm really excited for. I love Kevin Steen. This guy is amazing. This match was amazing. Oh, I'm losing my voice because I'm sick, but I'm sorry about that. Next, we have a tag team gauntlet match with the Young Bucks, the Bravado Brothers, Future Shock, Caprice Coleman, and Cedric Alexander, and the All Night Express. This was a good tag team match, and the Young Bucks win. Next, we got Roderick Strong versus a mystery opponent. This turns out to be Chris Hero, making his return to Ring of Honor. I think it's just for one match because he's supposed to go to WWE. He hasn't signed with WWE yet. There's been some complications with some testing. So, anyways, good to see Chris Hero back in Ring of Honor for one match. He had a good match with Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong won, though. But good to see Chris Hero. We probably won't see him again because he'll be in WWE. But anyways, good to see him. And this was a good surprise, too. Next, we got the Briscoes versus Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team, Ring of Honor Tag Team title match. This was the only match I really had a problem with. I had really high hopes for this match, and the match was good, but it could have been so much better. They had Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas play the heels, and the Briscoes were the faces when the feud was making the Briscoes the heels and Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas the faces, and then they just switched it for the pay-per-view. And I don't know, it didn't work well. And it kind of ruined the match for me. But it was still a good match. But yeah, whatever. The Briscoes win and are the new tag team champs again for the 7th or 8th time. I love the Briscoes. Glad to see them back as tag team champs. Last but not least, Davey Richards versus Eddie Edwards. Ring of Honor World Title match. Great match. Davey wins. After the match, Davey says Eddie was tough to beat, but he did it. And then Kevin Steen comes out and tells Davey that the only thing that matters in Ring of Honor is Kevin Steen, and he's going to be the world champ in 2012. This was a really good way to end the show. Oh, man, Davey and Eddie, they had a good battle, very emotional, two friends beating the shit out of each other, and then Kevin Steen just comes out and just ruins it for them. This was excellent. This pay-per-view was really good. I definitely recommend it. If you want to watch it, it's only $15. I'm going to put the link to the website in the description. GoFightLive.tv. Go get it. It was a great pay-per-view. Next, we got WWE RAW. This was the Raw that happened last week. So first, we got John Laurinaitis comes out and teases the crowd about CM Punk not being there. Punk comes out and they go back and forth and stuff. Laurinaitis says Punk will have a gauntlet match tonight. Punk agrees, but then says he wants another match after the gauntlet with John Laurinaitis. Laurinaitis accepts. First match, Booker T versus Cody Rhodes. Good match. Booker wins. I didn't know they were gonna have this match on Raw. Very surprising, but good match. And Booker won. Next, we got Zack Ryder and Eve versus Tyson Kidd and Natalya. Pretty good match. Ryder and Eve win. Next, we got John Cena comes out and tells the crowd he's gonna fight Kane tonight. Miz comes out and says he's gonna fight Cena because they have unfinished business. Whatever. John Cena and Miz have a match. Miz leaves in the middle of the match and says it's over. And then R-Truth makes his return and attacks Miz. Good to see that the suspension did not stop this feud from happening. And R-Truth and Miz are going to continue their feud. Good to see that. Next, we got Big Show versus David Otunga. And Big Show has one arm tied behind his back. Same thing as Cena and the Miz match. It ends after Mark Henry comes out. And David Otunga leaves. Henry attacks Show. Then Daniel Bryan comes out and distracts Henry. Show tries to choke slam Henry, but David Otunga attacks Show. And David Otunga gets taken out instead. Next we got Alberto Del Rio and tells everyone he's injured. The fans cheer. And then the Bellas come out for some reason and say they're going to throw a party for Del Rio. This was a waste of time. This could have been a backstage segment. It just felt really dumb for it to be on the stage. It was just, I don't know. I thought it was a waste of time. Next we got CM Punk running the gauntlet. His first opponent is Jack Swagger. Okay match. Punk wins. His second match, CM Punk versus Dolph Ziggler. Good match. Ziggler wins after John Laurinaitis distracts Punk. So the winner, if an opponent beat Punk, they get a WWE title match, and that'll be on Raw. And last but not least, we got Kane comes out, and John Cena tries to come out, but a firewall comes out of the ground and stops him. And Kane says the reason he attacked Cena is because something about hate. And basically he did what Piper did and just tell Cena to accept the hate, become a heel, to tell the fans to fuck off, basically. And, Cena, half the crowd cheers him and the other half boos him. That's how the show ends. And Cena's just left there with, basically he was contemplating, should he be the good guy? Should he be the bad guy? And this has a great setup for Cena to turn heel in the end. And I hope they actually pull the trigger and go through with it, because it could be awesome. Next, we got TNA Impact. It starts with Madison Rayne and Gail Kim come out. Madison calls out Tara and Brooke Tessmacher. They come out, and Madison fires them. Sting comes out and says Madison's not VP of the Knockouts, so she can't fire anyone. And Gail will defend her Knockouts title tonight against Mickie James. First match, Abyss and Scott Steiner versus Kazarian and AJ Styles. Pretty good match. Kazarian and Styles win. After the match, Bully Ray comes out and says he wants Abyss back in Immortal. Abyss says he wants a match with Bully Ray. And if Abyss loses, he's back in Immortal. Next, we got Zema Ion versus Tony Nese. Contract on a pole match. Pretty good. Zema Ion wins. Next, we got Gunner versus Doug Williams. Good to see Doug Williams on the show. Horrible to see him in this position. It was okay. The match was okay. Williams wins by DQ. After the match, Gunner takes out Douglas Williams. Next, Robert Roode comes out and calls out one of his friends, or past friends, and his friend asks Robert Roode, why has he changed into the douchebag that he is? And Roode says he's the world champ, and people are jealous of him, and blah blah blah. And in the end, Roode attacks his friend, and Jeff Hardy makes a save. Next, we got Samoa Joe and Magnus versus Eric Young and ODB. Pretty good match. Joe and Magnus win and advance to the finals of the tag team tournament thing. Next, we got Kurt Angle versus RVD. Good match. Angle wins by DQ after James Storm attacks Angle. And last but not least, we have Mickie James versus Gail Kim Knockouts title match. Good match. Gail wins after someone attacks Mickie James. It's been a while since the Knockouts have main evented an Impact. The last time I remember was Awesome Kong and Gail Kim. Actually, no. They main evented an Impact, but I don't think it was a match. It was really bad. I'm gonna try and find the clip on YouTube and link it in the description. But this was bad. This was the last time I think they ended the show. And it was like a game show, and like someone won the Knockouts title from a box. It was really bad. I'm gonna try and find it on YouTube. Check the description for the clip if I find it. But yeah, Mickie and Gail, they end the show and they had a good match. So that was cool to see the women get an opportunity to show what they have and to end the show. Anyways, we got next to SmackDown. It starts with Booker T comes out and thanks the fans and talks about beating Cody on Raw. Cody comes out and talks a bunch of shit about Booker and tells him to retire. Dustin Rhodes, who is Goldust without the face paint, comes out. Tells Cody to leave Booker alone. Cody talks more shit. Then Booker challenges Cody to another match for the Intercontinental title. And then Booker leaves and Cody attacks his brother, Dustin. I really enjoy this. There's been a lot of rumors that at WrestleMania, Cody is going to face his brother, Goldust, in a match at WrestleMania. And that could be really interesting. And I think it'd be a good, build up to the feud. The match will probably be good, but I want to see more of the build up. You probably get Dusty Rhodes involved in this. And it'd just be really interesting. So I definitely want to see where this story is headed. Next, we got Ted DiBiase versus Jinder Mahal. Pretty good match. Mahal wins. Tamina and Natalya versus Alicia Fox and Caitlyn. This was okay. Alicia and Caitlyn win. After the match, Tamina attacks Natalya. This was confusing to me because they're both heels, so why is one heel going to attack another? It made me confused. Next, we got Justin Gabriel versus Hunico. Okay match. Hunico wins. I wish this went a little bit longer. It seemed like this could have been a really good match. But whatever. Also, there was some guy with Hunico, and they're going to be a tag team, so I guess Hunico is not going to be with Epico and Primo anymore, which is whatever. Next, we got Big Show versus David Otunga. Pretty good match. Big Show wins. Next is Drew McIntyre versus Ezekiel Jackson. Pretty good match. Ezekiel wins. So Drew McIntyre is no longer on Raw. He got moved to SmackDown, which is cool because he's a guy that really got lost on Raw, and I think he could be a superstar in the future. He just needs to, get time to show the ability that he has, wrestling or talking and whatever. And I think SmackDown's a good platform for him. And when they took him off SmackDown and put him on Raw, they really messed him up and he got lost. And now he's back on SmackDown. So hopefully he can get back on track to becoming a huge superstar. Next, we got Sheamus comes out and says he's going to win the Royal Rumble. Hornswoggle comes out and says he's going to win the Rumble. Heath Slater comes out and just brags about himself being number one. And him and Sheamus go back and forth. And eventually they have a match. And it was pretty good. Sheamus wins. And that's about it. And last but not least, we got Wade Barrett versus Randy Orton. Falls count anywhere match. Good match. No one wins. So the end happened. They were brawling backstage. And then Barrett shoved Orton down some stairs, and then Barrett ran away. So SmackDown just ended with Randy Orton at the bottom of some stairs. So there's more news on Randy Orton. We'll talk about that later in the news section. Last but not least, we got Ring of Honor TV. This wasn't much of a show. This was just a recap of some of the best matches that happened on TV. So you had matches like Jay Lethal versus El Generico, Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team versus the Kings of Wrestling, and the Briscoes versus All Night Express. It was kind of like a best of show. It wasn't a real show. So yeah, last but not least, we got some news. First, some injury news. We got Mark Henry has a groin injury. He's still going to be on TV, but he's not going to be able to wrestle. And, Randy Orton is also injured with a back injury, and he might be out till WrestleMania. So that really sucks for SmackDown, losing a huge star in Randy Orton. They already lost Christian, so now they lost Christian and Orton. So hopefully, I don't know, they can fill that void. Daniel Bryan's world champ now. And Mark Henry, Orton, and Christian. They're all part of SmackDown, and they're all injured. So we're going to start to see the push of some other talents to fill the void for those three. And last but not least, Brock, a little bit of UFC news. I'm not a big fan of UFC, but when there's newsworthy stuff, I like to talk about it. So Brock Lesnar recently had a fight against Alistair Overeem, and he lost. He got dominated. He got his ass whipped. And after the match, Lesnar got on the mic and says he's going to retire from UFC. So immediately when you hear this, you think, oh, he's going to go back to professional wrestling. Now, maybe, but I don't, the reason he left WWE is because he didn't want to travel a lot. So I don't know if he's going to necessarily go back to WWE. Maybe WWE, I don't even think he would consider TNA. But it's a possibility, maybe. But, he's retired himself from UFC, and we'll just have to... That's interesting. It's definitely interesting, That's a big hit to UFC, definitely. In my personal opinion, I think Brock Lesnar is a huge draw for the UFC. Whenever he's on the card, everyone's excited to watch because the UFC fans want to see him get his ass kicked because he's the fake pro wrestler, and the pro wrestling fans want to see him lose and go back to pro wrestling. So the reason he's so successful is because, he kind of gets the wrestling fans to watch his matches because, he's a former wrestler. So now that he's retired from UFC, his options are open. He was recently in WWE 12, so that kind of opens the door for maybe a WWE comeback. But, he recently had he had the disease that kept him out of action for a year. So, I don't know, he's made a lot of money, so really he doesn't have to do anything. He could just chill with his wife. So, I don't know, best of luck to Lesnar. I would like to see him back in professional wrestling. I'm not going to lie, but we'll have to see. Anyways, guys, that's it for the Weekly Wrestling Review, the end of 2011. Next week, we got the first Weekly Wrestling Review of 2012. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. What do you guys think about Brock Lesnar retiring? And what would you like to see him do next? Would you like to see him do wrestling? And if so, WWE or TNA? Leave a comment for that. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys next time.